Miss T.
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 Can't wait for you to meet Miss T. She is the T in T.
Okay, I have to share this with you. I know that we're all still getting to know each other and we're growing, and this is a great podcast and you're learning all about me, but I have kids, right? And my last kid, he's on his way out the door. We're doing all the college stuff and it's really, really cool and like mildly traumatic, like lightweight. It's kind of traumatic, you guys. It's like ultra traumatic. My baby's going to college. And guess what? He don't even want to stay home. I'm like, Pooh, you can stay home. He said, don't call me Pooh. I'm like, what? You're my Pooh. You've been my Pooh for like 17 years. And why did I call you Pooh? Wait, we're to the point where I can't call you Pooh? Pumpkin pie? Not that either, Mom. What? We're there. So anyways, he's getting ready for college, right? And he's trying to be like, I'm out. I want to get my own apartment. I want to live in the dorms. I want to be out. Mom. I want to test all the training. I want to make some mistakes. I'm like, baby, you don't want to make some mistakes. He's like, yeah, I want to make some mistakes. I'm like, son, you don't want to make some mistakes. He's like, Mom, I definitely want to make some mistakes. And I'm just like, oh, son, you don't want to make mistakes. Let mommy help you. He said, Mom, you said you learn when you make mistakes. I'm like, crap, don't use my own stuff against me, all right? So anyway, we had that exchange, right? So we're doing all the college stuff. And I take him to this college and, I don't, keep my kids, sheltered in a way that they're not experiencing different cultures and different languages and different experiences with other demographics. But this one in particular, I just wanted him to be with his people. So he's with leadership that's African-American, Black people. That's how we get down. He's also with like a group of young people that some of them are, Black kids that are attending college for the first time in like multiple generations. So, we in it, we're excited about it. We're hearing all the information and doing the tour and stuff like that. And, it's just a bunch of these young people and some of them, their parents, some of them grandparents, because they're raised by their grandparents. And we're just in it and we're excited about it. Right. And so, they give us the 1-2 in the lecture room, and then, they all get free, snacks and water and a t-shirt and a little lanyard and a pin. And now we're going to walk the campus, right? So I'm going somewhere. Just stay with me. We're going to walk the campus, right? So you know me, I'm like, been here, I'm all over this. And I'm still like mama hen, and now mama hen, not just to my kid, but, all the kids that are in the cohort. And we're walking the campus and we're maybe 3/4 away from where we started and about 1/4 of the way done with the tour. And they're telling us all the buildings and the new things they've added and the programs they've added. And so we're standing in the middle of what feels like the street, but the campus was a weekend, so it wasn't like super busy. And these 3 young people come out of, one of the newer buildings, a science building or whatever it was. And I hear the young man, when they're afar off coming out the door, because it was 2 guys and a young lady. And he's saying, go back, don't be here. We don't want you here. I mean, he's just yelling, right? And so I'm watching the demeanor of the kids. They start to sink, heads start lowering. They looking around like, who's going to do what? And I'm looking at the parents. The parents are trying to maintain, this is new for them, new atmosphere, new environment. They don't want to mess up this opportunity for their kids. So everybody is like Silence of the Lamb, right? Okay, so I do not have a problem being the big bad wolf. I really don't. I don't have a problem advocating. I don't have a problem when it's time for someone to be vocal about saying right is right and wrong is wrong. So homeboy is getting closer, right? And the people walking with him is laughing every time he says something rude and hurtful and very anti. Every time he says something, it's funny to them, right? And so again, we stand in the middle of the street. The person who's giving us the tour, she's curating, and she's little and she's petite, and she's like, my strategy is to ignore him. That's not my strategy, okay? And there might be situations for that, but that wasn't the situation for that. So I just stop in the middle of the thing. I have my stunner shades on. I'm like, I'm short. But here's the deal. I don't know I'm short. I'm tall on the inside, so I don't know that I'm short. So anyways, they get closer and closer, and now we're in maybe, 10, 12 feet of each other, right? And so the guy's like, get out here, just, talking to the kids, like talking crazy to the kids. And so I just turn around now again. Let me give you all a little disclaimer. I am from Richmond, California. I have a little hood in me. It comes out whenever I need it. I'm really good with the code switch. Not in this moment. So I said, hey, hey, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we about to go toe to toe, right? I don't know him. He don't know me, but I know what he's doing is wrong. And I know what it's doing to these kids. They have to fight to be here. They have to fight for this moment. They have to fight with situations and circumstances that sometimes you can't even imagine, just for them to have the opportunity to advance and grow. And what you're saying to them is, you can't be here. We don't want you here. And I'm saying, oh, yes, we do. So we have a little exchange, right? And when it was all said and done, of course, I thought about it afterwards. And I'm like, T, you should probably do this with a bodyguard, but it's whatever. So anyway, we have a little exchange and they walk their way and I go my way. And then my son, now remember, I'm here for my son who's 6 foot tall, strong, athletic young man. We finished the tour and I could tell people were a little uncomfortable, but I was trying to, I felt like I had to deal with the moment, because I wanted them to know, no, this is exactly where you should be. This is exactly where you belong. And you deserve the opportunity just like they deserve the opportunity. And I don't know what kind of crack this person was on this morning, but it's not okay for you to do that to those kinds of people. And sometimes if you don't express something out of your mouth, your enemy, the voices, the anti-you being successful voice will keep barking at you and barking at you and barking at you until you bark back. So we're about, 5 minutes done with the tour, and my son, I'm looking at his countenance, right? And, he's not his like, hey, let's conquer the world self. So he comes up to me and he says, Mom, I said, son, so what'd you get out of this? Like, what did you get out of the tour? What'd you learn? I always like to ask my young people when we're doing stuff, like, we can have experience after experience, but what did you learn in this experience? So he says to me, I'm waiting for him to say, the gym place was dope and the athletic department is cool. And I can't wait to go into the labs and stuff. He said, well, Mom, I think the major thing I learned was the importance of me speaking up, especially when it's to protect other people. Now, I almost cried. He said, I watched you deal with those people and I was 6 feet away from you and I should have been standing next to you. Will you forgive me? I'm about to tear up right now. Will you forgive me? So here's the moral of the story. I have built an organization that, the heart of it is on service and advocacy. And I find that most often it's not that people are not brilliant. It's not that they're too afraid to, take a step or build something or do something different or difficult. I think most often it's the voices of opposition in their lives that cause them not to succeed to the level that they were destined to. So this group of young people who had their opinion about whether or not this group of kids belong there, their voice was loud and obnoxious and abrasive and hurtful and very anti these kids. But if somebody didn't speak back, if someone didn't put their words of opposition back against the opposition, the voice would not have stopped. And it would have done damage to a group of well-meaning kids that are just trying to do better in life, whose parents are doing the best they can to help them do better in life. So, I always do this, especially when I'm developing leaders, is you have to be ready to advocate, not just for yourself and for your family, but whenever you find a weakness in society that demands a solution by way of not just voice, but action also. And sometimes the action is speaking up and speaking up in a clear and effective and confident and bold way that forces change or stop or a redirect. Now, again, my son, he could have picked up any lesson from that day, any lesson at all. But the lesson that he picked up was the importance of him using his voice and advocating for people who were seemingly in a weaker position, especially in this particular atmosphere. I also, work greatly with a lot of people where the voice of opposition is not the voice that's exterior. Sometimes the voice of opposition is the voice that's in your head from conditioning from somebody else or another situation or a moment of abuse and trauma or betrayal or dishonesty or deceit. You can have a voice in your head that's constantly telling you, like a background program, like how you have cell phones and your devices have programs that are running in the background and you don't always see that they're running, but they're still running and they're controlling things behind the scenes. that you don't even know are affecting what's happening in front of the scenes. But you, as a human, your brain is such a magnificent computer. You can have something on instant replay running in the background of your mind that's contaminating your heart, which is affecting the outcome of what you believe. It's stopping from what you believe from happening because it's controlling something subconsciously and interiorly. So sometimes the voice that you need to talk to is an interior voice that's saying, no, stop, don't, you can't, you're not good enough, you're not worthy. And I find that, you know, I spend a great deal of time reading the Bible, the Word of God, and I make sure that for me is the ultimate truth, the ultimate authority. And I make sure that I'm reading and speaking those things about myself, about my family, about my company, because for me, that's the thing that doesn't fail. I also have affirmations, things that, you know, if your mind can be programmed with the voice this way, it can also be unprogrammed with the right voice in the opposite direction. So let's say, for instance, you're looking to accomplish something. How often are you telling yourself who you really are? How often are you telling yourself how you want to show up in the world? I can't tell you how many times I had to tell myself over the course of decades that you are a millionaire. You are a millionaire. And making sure to say that thing to me, it kind of countered the voice that said, you broke, you don't have enough, you got to spend the money on this, where you going to get the money from? And it's a constant voice. It's like a machine gun, pop, 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 always going off in your head. And I think the more you let that voice go off in your head, you'll find that the outside voices will start to chime in. And before you know it, you have a whole choir singing the wrong narrative over your entire life that's causing you to stumble, stop, fail, and not accomplish your goals. So again, going back to the story, when are you going to speak up aggressively for what you do want rather than listening over and over and over and over and over again to what you don't want? When are you going to come in agreement with your dreams, your goals, the desires of your heart, that you see yourself up here doing better, doing more, doing great, succeeding, flying? When do you align yourself with that narrative? You get to decide what you believe about yourself. You get to decide what you believe about your life situations and circumstances. You even get to decide how far you go, how fast you go, and how high you go. But your voice is one of the most important voices of influence in your life. And if you're practicing being quiet, I can tell you right now that you are living a life that's narrated by somebody other than you. So again, going back to the story and watching the impact on my son and just recognizing that these are things that have become a lifestyle for me because of how much I've practiced it. But I'm recommending that you do the same. Like, don't you, I know, you people, we're not born like, yeah, I'm super excited to fail and not achieve anything and be super mediocre with life. I'm so excited about being a loser. I'm not calling nobody a loser. I'm just saying no one's born like that. You're born with high hopes. There are enemies strategically positioned to make sure that, they chip away at some of those hopes, but you get to control that. So, I'm recommending that you try using your voice of advocacy. Try using your voice of, no, that's not right. Try now listen. Okay, let me warn you, because I don't want you to say, Miss T at Sweetteetime told me to step up to the gang guy with the machete and tell him quit selling crack. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying, look, you got to use wisdom. You got to use wisdom. When do you hold them? When do you fold them? When do you attack it like this? Or when do you write a letter to your legislator? When do you submit a report about your findings to someone who can help you, that has a bigger voice than you, that can bring about change? I'm not saying put yourself in danger. I'm saying practice using your voice in a multitude of ways so that you're not only growing, but the people around you are growing and changing, and you're being a positive contributor to your situations, your circumstances, your atmospheres, your environment, your community, and your family, and yourself. I mean, that's so super key, is you are the nucleus of all of this. So using your voice, again, I I just speak when I'm compelled to speak into a situation. I make sure that whatever I'm saying is not only bold, but also designed to neutralize a situation. I want everybody encouraged to do the right thing. So I use extreme wisdom before I say something so that I'm not doing something that hurts somebody, but I'm doing something that helps somebody. And that should be the core. If that is the core motivation for you, is to be helpful, to encourage people to the best, even the ones that are heckling. I don't know what was going on in that person that caused, I don't know what kind of day they were having that caused them to do what they did. I don't know why they had the extreme disrespect for these, group of high school kids who are trying to better themselves. I don't know what the source of that was, but I could tell you either somebody did it to them or they've been practicing this whole bullying tactic for quite some time for whatever reason. Might make them feel good on the inside. But obviously somebody didn't step up and say, hey, bro, what's up, man? Stop. For real. Stop. And then I think another thing when you're using your voice is always make sure that you're using the appropriate language for the situation. He wasn't someone that I could start spouting off statistics to the psychological effects of someone who's being negatively aggressive toward another race, race of individuals who are often traumatized and systemically, beat down. I couldn't give him any of that stuff. He wouldn't comprehend, understand, or even care about that stuff. But I could say, hey, come on, man, stop. Go on, do something else. Now, see, that's just my language. I didn't have time to code switch during that. That's just my language. But I'm telling you, make sure you're using the right vernacular to solve the problem. That's not something I would do. Let's say, for instance, if I'm in a meeting with one of our civic leaders, but it was something I could do in this situation so that this person understood the seriousness of what they were doing. So again, using the right language when you're using your voice, and then using the right language with you. I could tell you right now, using profanity, I try to tidy that stuff up, try real hard not to practice that stuff. It's called cursing for a reason, because you really put a curse on yourself when you start using words that don't build you. If the word doesn't build you, don't use the word. If the word doesn't build the world around you in the direction that you want it to go, don't use the word. So you won't hear things like can't, I don't know how, I don't want to. I don't practice words that don't produce for me. So when I'm using my voice for change, I make sure that the words are producing words that are appropriate for the situation and the atmosphere that I'm in. So you might have to start to develop a stronger vocabulary of support and encouragement for yourself. And listen, I'm not telling you to do nothing that I don't already do. I'm not telling you to try something I haven't already tried and mastered and created a lifestyle around. And you'll hear this, all the motivational gurus, they say all this kind of stuff, but build your own confessions, build your own voice for your good, build your own voice for your family. Start speaking the things that you want. Use your voice to change your atmosphere and to shut the mouth of the lion. And I say that because sometimes people or situations can roar the voices of how you can't and how you'll never be and who you'll never be are a roaring voice like a lion. But do you understand the best way to shut up the lion is to talk back? So again, none of these are challenging things. These are just things that come by way of consistency and repetition. And you have to be serious about practicing something new that will transform your thinking, your life. Use your voice. Use your voice to build your life. Use your voice to shut the enemy up in your head and outside of your head. Use your voice to build the future that you want. Use the voice to build the person that you know that you're called to be. I am, I will, I must, I have, I do. Be good, be great, be successful, be wealthy, be somebody that the world can look to for solutions and not a contributor to the problem because you are practicing a quietness that is not conducive for the growth of yourself and the people around you. And I'll land with this. My son said it to me, and it was probably one of the most impactful things that I ever heard in my entire life is, Mom, today on this tour, I learned that I should speak up for people. I should advocate to protect the people who don't know how to protect themselves. Mom, today I learned that I should have stood with you instead of standing 6 feet away from you. You know somebody that's using your voice, their voice. If you know somebody that's using their voice to do something great, it's all right to go shoulder to shoulder and amplify the right thing to shut down the wrong thing. You got it? Thank you for tuning into that. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, look, if you got any questions, challenges, comments, concerns, or you just want to be in touch with your girl, you can do that by emailing me at sweetteetime, that's me, time, show@gmail.com. Again, that's sweetteetimeshow@gmail.com. And I look forward to hearing from you.